welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, 18-hour special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. This is the only daily MSME platform in the country, a show where you can voice your concerns and get answers to all your queries directly from our team of experts. We understand the issues that you, the MSME entrepreneur, face, and the show aims to bring you the most relevant and the most updated information on everything related to your businesses. Tonight, we'll bring you a conversation with GHV Accelerator on our Insights segment, and on Bright Sparks, we're featuring M-Carbon and the Belgian Waffle company. Gurgaon-based startup accelerator Greenhouse Ventures, a GHV accelerator started by serial entrepreneur and Indian Angel Network member Vikram Upadhyay, provides mentorship and capital amongst other things to startups. I spoke with him earlier on funding for entrepreneurs and advice to find a right fit mentor amongst other things. Here's the interview that I did earlier. Vikram, thanks very much for speaking with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow. You've just set up a 350 crore fund for Indian startups. Maybe we can start this conversation by you telling us how that fund is really going to work.
So this fund is focused for India, and it's an India focused fund for the early stage Series A VC fund. Knowing the fact that India has a lot of opportunities, and Series A capital is quite in shortfall. So that's why we are targeting Series A Focus India Fund. This fund basically will be targeting around deployment we'll be doing in around 10 to 12 startups in over a period of 3 years. Average ticket size will be between $2 to $5 million US dollar, and the sectors we are looking at it is primarily around health tech, fintech and consumer tech.
What I'm really trying to understand, Vikram, is what the USP really is of this fund at a time when we are seeing a lot of domestic funds here in India.
So, as you know that we started our operations and the presence in India as GHV Accelerator way back in 2014. So, it's a hip, hop and jump theory we picked up, and with the background of Japanese Kaizen theories and the strategies, we decided to do a bottom-up approach rather than doing a top-down approach. We started in 2014 investing at a very early stage, seed stage, in startups in India. We have invested around 11 startups, going to be 15 in a couple of months. So the objective for a bottom-up approach is first nurturing at a very early stage, helping them to build a strong presence in terms of the product development, innovation, and then the customer acquisition. So that cycle is complete in terms of the hip part of it. After 2 years, the second cycle which we decided to focus at it is the Series A. That's the growth capital. Prior to the growth capital, the Series A is required in the tune of $2 to $5 million. The uniqueness what we are bringing in is a collaboration with Japanese partners, which is building a kind of a entry barrier for others, because Japan, as you know, believe in a long-term partnership. It takes years for building relationship, and with my experience of 16 years, that really helped me to collaborate with the marquee investors like World Innovation Labs as a VC fund, and ex-PIMCO Managing Director Mr. Takano. So that creates a uniqueness for us in terms of the market positioning of the fund. This not only provides capital to the startups in India, but also as and when the startups will grow, it gives opportunity for the Japanese companies to enter in the Indian market through these startups if they perform well post our funding. And that will be the step 3, that's the jump, which is the growth capital when the startups need.
Let's talk about the role of mentors, Vikram. How crucial is it for startups and entrepreneurs to be able to have a mentor on board?
As of now, we have a very selective mentors panel in the GHV Accelerator, and we are expecting the support coming in the fund also through these mentors. They have been a great support to this ecosystem we have built over a period of 2 years. What we are expecting as a mentors to take care, in general, if I have to speak about it, to guide the entrepreneurs basically for what they should not do. We expect and anticipate that the entrepreneurs who are capable of getting funding from us or from someone else, they are capable of finding out what they should do. So the mentorship, we focus around what they should not do in the journey of entrepreneurship post funding from us, if we talk about specifically about GHV. And that's what been given by our mentors to these entrepreneurs and in our portfolio and in the market. That's how it's going.
What advice would you have for our viewers then in terms of going about finding a right fit mentor? So for example, we were talking about the startups that you're associated with. They naturally have access to a mentor. What about those startups that don't have a fund like you on board, that don't necessarily have a banking partner on board? What do they do?
When an entrepreneur is looking out for a good mentor, first they have to fix certain problems at their end before reaching out and identifying a good mentor. What are the things they have to do? Basically, they have to first create a checklist whether they know the problem statement or not. How big is the problem statement, and whether they can solve it at a proof of concept level as a co-founder team members. Once they have the answer yes to all these points, they should reach out in the market to identify mentors who are bringing the relevant experience with respect to their venture. And there are a lot of platforms in the country. NASSCOM provides those connects to connect and identify the right mentors. Indian Angel Network is another one. Let's Venture is another platform where you can find not only the angels but also the mentors who give the right advice not to do and how you should do. So these platforms are quite active. The entrepreneurs have to identify their uniqueness, a differentiator which is enough for them to convince any mentor to be on board with them.
Let's talk about the macro environment right now as far as the entrepreneurs and MSMEs are concerned, particularly the regulatory framework, government regulation, and your thoughts in terms of what you think should be done more given the excess of government programs that we're really seeing for entrepreneurs. What more do you think should be done to encourage entrepreneurship in India?
The only advice, or rather I'll say my thoughts, is basically if a government can give them a freedom to prove for a couple of months or 2 years to prove what they want to do, that's the first thing a government should provide in terms of a support to these SME entrepreneurs. Why I'm highlighting this a freedom to prove themselves? Because the first 2 years are the most crucial years for the entrepreneurs of this category. The biggest challenge for them is identifying the resources if they're capable of executing it, and the tax benefit definitely they need if given an opportunity. I think they need an ecosystem by the government where they can reach out to the set of domain experts, industry experts. They have the challenge in terms of how to build the right product which matches with the industry need. So the data which is about the industry published by the government should be easily available and a connect with the right set of people in the government to validate their thoughts.
One thing we talk about quite often here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, Vikram, is about the education system. Do you think that the present educational setup that we have right now encourages entrepreneurs, and if not, what more do you think should be done to ensure that we see entrepreneurs and we see them early?
Today, the change in terms of the common man's language, if I have to explain, the parents are saying after graduating you should try and follow your passion, try to be an entrepreneur. Way back in 2000, early 2000 and before that, the parents used to say that which company you are targeting for your campus post graduation. So there is a big shift in terms of the mindset of the parents, who are the biggest supporters and the enablers for the Indian education system. The second shift, the education methods are changing now, whether it's at the K-12 level or the graduation level or post-grad. The educators are encouraging students to come up with their thoughts rather than giving them a bookish knowledge. A theory is a kind of has taken a kind of a backstage, and a practical approach is quite being encouraged and promoted in this present education system. That's from my understanding, and I'm seeing a lot of initiatives by the government how to improve this education system, which can help improve the skill sets of the graduates to become entrepreneurs in coming decade.
All right, Vikram, such a pleasure having you on the show. Thanks for speaking with us. Take a quick break. When we come back, we'll feature M Carbon and the Belgian Waffle company. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and tonight we're featuring M Carbon and the Belgian Waffle company. Value-added services, or VAS, has transformed the telecom industry, enabling service providers to simplify and personalize customer experience by having various products. Bridging the gap between consumers and telecom companies is Delhi-based M Carbon, that is emerging as one of the front runners in this space. Libza Manan caught up with the founder of M Carbon to bring you this story in terms of how it's vital for entrepreneurs to create a niche in whatever space they're present in.
Have you ever imagined how different and expensive our mobile communication experience could be if there were no value-added services? To shed more light on this vertical of the telecom industry that has been enriching our mobile experience, we bring to you M Carbon Tech Innovation and the brain behind the brand, Rajesh Razdan, who is here to disrupt the VAS space.
About 9 years back, that was the connectivity was the base, the base function. We were trying to add cherry on top, so what is called as value-added services. And value-added services were a very wide spectrum, and today what we are doing is more of a value-added services 2.0. The initial set of value-added services was to intervene for various, whether it is SMS, whether it is IVR, whether it is voice-based applications, to solve multiple problems of communication, for example, calls that get missed on the networks, those kind of interventions. So net, we thought this is the time where, since you are adding so many subscribers and acquisition is the impetus, why don't we look at some of these wide areas that are available for us to play? And we chose 2 or 3 of them, and we started with the first, I would say, few years of M Carbon doing that and doing that well.
Right, and M Carbon's offerings are essentially technology based. So would you like to highlight the role of technology and how is it acting as a key growth driver for your business?
So I think by no means technology is the single most differentiator, and we've seen technology change over the last 8 years, and it's still changing and chasing us rather. So technology allows us to be more efficient. Technology allows us to be more real time, more instant. Just imagine that simple example is with a data pipe. If you have a faster data pipe, your user experience on the simple music streaming or a video streaming or a piece of action that you're doing on your phone, whether it is smart or otherwise, is very different, right? And what do we say? No, 4G is much better than 3G. So that is the experience of efficient pipe versus a non-efficient pipe. So similarly, we have used the same technology stack to be a determinant how fast can we deliver the same amount of service to you.
Since inception, M Carbon has developed a product suite for service providers with an aim to bridge the B2C gap. Today, the brand is constantly innovating and bringing in new products for telecom companies to provide a richer consumer experience and build a stronger user base.
Innovation is the buzzword for technology-based businesses. So what is your key innovation and differentiator in this space?
If you look at innovation and the differentiators, our approach to the market itself is it's a differentiator. Our ability to think ahead of the curve. So that is more like an ideation. When we go and co-create some of these ideas with our customers, that's the ideation innovation. Second part is the execution innovation, where we say that by bringing in best of the breed technology partners, by bringing in best of the breed financial modelings, we can actually run this entire program for you in a far more efficient and an innovative manner.
Elaborating on the consumer experience that you were just speaking about, well, telecom is a customer driven industry. So how have the priorities of consumers changed within the industry, and what do you think should telcos do to improve their own customer retention and acquisition?
It becomes very important to be, fairly relevant in different pieces of experience, and that is going to be the future. Very relevant, very specific to what I want, how I want, when I want, and that will change that, and that has changed as a consumer experience. That will continue to change as consumer experience, and this demanding user has also propelled CSPs to look beyond their core businesses. So as a business provider, as a CSP, I want to cater to my consumer demands accordingly.
So do you think in the next couple of years, customer value management would emerge as a market defining norm for communication service providers?
One is the value which somebody provides, and second is the experience. I think both needs to be seen together. So I think that gives a very important position. That is a very tough task as well, and that's why we are helping telcos or CSPs reach this goal together. I think next 4-5 years would be CVM would be the most important thing. It will differentiate who will survive and who will not. It will also differentiate many other things, aspects of why should I go to a different telco, what is the user experience problems.
With some strategic growth plans in place and a dedicated staff of over 250 people, this leading mobile VAS company is helping uplift revenues by adding value to the standard services offered by communication service providers, not only in India but across the globe.
For freshly baked eggless waffles in the country's most major metro, now one needs to look no further than the Belgian Waffle company. This company is spreading steadily across Mumbai's malls and markets alike by offering an innovative twist on the traditional waffle. Pooja Jain stopped by its newly opened outlet here in Mumbai to understand the drivers behind the brand's growth story and sample some sweet and savoury waffles served on the side. Take a look.
When it comes to waffles, India is beginning to whet its appetite. Cashing in on the craze is the Belgian Waffle company. Here's an example of a brand that's striking a balance between maintaining a delicacy's authenticity while localizing it just enough to unleash its full market potential.
What inspired you to build a business around a single product line? Essentially, why waffles and why now?
So I think in this age, it's increasingly important to differentiate your product. You'll see specialty restaurants, very specific, unique offerings, which end up being successful. So the market I think is getting there, and as a player, we wanted to kind of test out that theory. Of course, when we first started out, we weren't really sure where the model was going to fit in. It was inspired from other concepts in Southeast Asia where you have standalone waffle kiosks, not specifically restaurants. We believe that differentiating in one single product is where our success and strength lies.
The Belgian Waffle company obviously has a very traditional ring to it, but your brand offers an unconventional, innovative twist to the traditional waffle. So tell us more.
So a Belgian waffle is typically thick and light, and it's topped with a variety of toppings and fillings, chocolates, fruit compotes, and your classics. So we've kind of taken the inspiration from the point of view that the kind of taste and the bite that it produces, that's the kind of product we want to go for. The reason we designed a waffle that was slightly thinner and which you make into a sandwich then becomes the profile of the thickness, and we fill it with the same kind of fillings and toppings. So the taste is the same, but it's thinner per se when you cook it, and that allows us to actually increase the turnout, the churn, because the thicker your waffle, the more time it takes to cook. So that's kind of the thinking that we went with, because we are at the end of the day a quick service restaurant. People don't want to wait necessarily 15 to 20 minutes. They kind of want something that's quick and easy.
What attempts have you made to appeal to the Indian palate and to the health-conscious consumer in particular?
So in terms of adjusting to the Indian palate, again, the product and the concept of the Belgian waffle, we want to keep it as authentic as possible. But at the same time, we realize that India is a very vegetarian-driven kind of environment. So it was very important to have a completely eggless, vegetarian, 100% vegetarian waffle. And that's something we've been able to achieve, and we're very happy with the product that we've been able to roll out, given that waffles are traditionally with egg. Besides that, as far as the flavors go, we started with typically Belgian flavors, and we realized that the Indian consumer really likes chocolate. So that's been able to fuel our decisions into introducing a variety of non-traditional waffle flavors, such as the chocolate overload, which is basically the batter that we make itself has chocolate in it. So we call it the dark chocolate waffle batter. People go to a dessert brand to indulge. They go to have desserts to indulge. At the same time, we kind of want to have something for everyone. So we have really light options, light and flavorful options, such as the classics, honey and maple butters. We have fruit compotes, which again kind of appeal to the healthier version of consumers. And then of course we have very indulging waffles, such as the chocolate overload, Nutella waffles, ice cream waffles. But at this point, we're kind of just being a straight, full indulgent dessert brand.
So the Belgian Waffle Company has established its presence in Mumbai's largest malls and most burgeoning markets. How do you embrace the challenge of positioning the waffle as a snack that can be consumed anytime, anywhere, and not just a breakfast staple?
Waffles as a breakfast item is, I think, largely an American concept. So as a first mover, we've had the opportunity to kind of define it as we want, and we've decided to create a dessert brand out of it. Because right now, typically all you find in terms of dessert QSRs is ice cream. That's the most common thing as far as the organized dessert sector goes. So we believe that there was a big opportunity there to create a dessert brand, and that's what we're doing.
And what's next for the Belgian Waffle Company, and do you consider India to be waffle ready?
Initially the response has been phenomenal. So whether or not it's the Bombay market, it's still something to explore, but I believe that given that the typical Indian is now more globalized, they're traveling more, they're eating and experimenting more in terms of food, I definitely think they're waffle ready.
When it comes to flavor, freshness and form factor, the Belgian Waffle Company has repeatedly made bold decisions that have come to set the brand a class apart. And by capitalizing on its first mover advantage, the company has introduced a decadent new dessert to Indian taste buds, all in the form of a Belgian waffle.
Today we brought you tips on funding and mentorship for startups. Do remember, if you're a business that wants to be featured here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, or you have any query about any aspect of your business, you can write in to us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. You can personally tweet at me. My handle is Sunanda_J. You can reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT, or call us on that number you see flashing on your screen. We promise to have all your questions answered. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.